Let's be real for a second. When Meghan Markle first strutted into the royal spotlight, it was like the world had collectively gasped and whispered, finally, something fresh, something modern. She was the glamorous Hollywood actress who had snagged cheeky, beloved Prince Harry. It was a headline straight out of a tabloid fantasy. The fairy tale wedding, the crowd's cheers, the glowing newspapers. People ate it up like candy. The monarchy was suddenly modern again. It was progressive, vibrant, and, dare I say it, exciting. But oh, how quickly the tide turned. Fast forward a few years and the Meghan everyone once adored has been replaced with an entirely different narrative. And let's not pretend it was all about racism or snobbery like Meghan and her defenders would have us believe. No, the truth cuts much deeper. The shift happened when people started spotting a pattern, and that pattern screamed entitlement. This woman, who married into arguably one of the most privileged families on planet Earth, suddenly started painting herself as the poor, oppressed victim. And just like that, we got the infamous Oprah interview. Let's not sugarcoat it. That moment will go down in history, not because it revealed shocking truths, but because it showcased Meghan's complete rebrand, from dazzling duchess to tragic outsider. It was textbook victimhood marketing. And Oprah? Oh, we need to talk about her. Once the queen of empowerment, the woman who built an empire telling people to rise above, to claim victory over victimhood, Oprah has changed. These days, she seems more interested in fueling outrage and pity than challenging people to grow. That Meghan interview wasn't journalism. It was a therapy session staged for the cameras. Carefully timed, perfectly choreographed, dripping with self-pity. And right there, watching from the sidelines, was Charlie Kirk. Say what you want about him, but one thing's undeniable. He saw through this circus from day one. While others tiptoed around the race issue, afraid to offend, Kirk came right out and said it. Meghan wasn't cast out, she walked out. And she did it with pockets stuffed full of cash and a shiny Netflix deal to flaunt. Kirk said out loud what everyone else was too afraid to whisper. It wasn't racism, it was Meghan's attitude. The constant media manipulation, the disdain for tradition, the refusal to play by even the simplest royal protocols. She didn't want to adapt. She wanted to dominate. She strutted in with a superiority complex dressed up as social justice, and people noticed, and they didn't like it. And here's the kicker. You don't even have to be a monarchist to see through this. It's not about defending the royals, it's about calling out a con. Meghan reinvented herself the moment she realized she couldn't control the palace's narrative. So she left, found cameras that would indulge her, and rebranded herself as the victim of the very institution that had rolled out the red carpet for her. But wait, it gets juicier. After dragging the royal family through the mud on national television, Meghan and Harry are now being quietly, strategically ushered back into the fold. Their faces linger on the official royal website. They show up at events again. The palace's PR machine is greasing the wheels for their return, and we're all supposed to clap like this is some touching story of reconciliation? Please, something bigger, much bigger, is at play here. Because if you think this is just about family healing, you're not paying attention. The system is rewarding Meghan for weaponizing identity, trashing tradition, and spinning her personal choices into political statements. Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk, who had the audacity to point this out, was ripped apart for daring to speak the obvious. Meghan cashed checks and strutted across global platforms while the media painted her as some misunderstood saint. The truly disturbing part? How easily powerful institutions lined up behind her. Mainstream outlets didn't question her claims. They didn't ask for proof. They nodded along like obedient lapdogs. Oprah handed her the stage. Netflix signed the checks. The press dutifully repeated the same tired headline. Meghan Markle was bullied out of the palace by racism. No names, no receipts, just a vague accusation powerful enough to spark a cultural wildfire. And anyone who questioned it, instantly branded dangerous. Let's be brutally honest, Meghan played her role like a pro. She knew exactly when to drop the race card, when to cry, when to deliver those long, dramatic pauses. Remember that moment in Oprah's interview when she claimed some unnamed royal wondered how dark her baby's skin might be? Boom. That was the spark. No names, no context, just a bombshell accusation that set headlines ablaze. Twitter erupted. The palace scrambled into defense mode. Mission accomplished, and the system let her get away with it. No tough follow-ups, no demand for evidence, just silence. Nobody with a platform dared to call out the contradictions. Nobody, except Charlie Kirk. Love him or hate him, he was one of the only ones willing to say it flat out. Meghan wasn't oppressed, she was manipulating. She leveraged her identity and royal connections into fame, fortune, and endless sympathy. And the second Kirk exposed that, the world erupted in outrage. Not debate, not counter-arguments, just outrage. Because here's the ugly truth, people don't want reality anymore. They want a comforting story. And Meghan gave them the perfect fairy tale to rage about, a beautiful biracial woman crushed by a cruel, outdated monarchy. It was irresistible. A villain everyone could hate guilt-free, and a heroine they could worship without question. But it was fiction. Meanwhile, poor Harry, remember him? The once fun royal? The cheeky prince who didn't care about rules? Now he's nothing more than Meghan's prop. He looks hollow, like a man who traded his soul for a Californian mansion and a podcast slot. And still, whenever he slinks back into the UK, the palace treats him like a prodigal son. Reconciliation, they call it. Let's be real, it's a PR stunt. And let's not forget, Harry and Meghan profited off dragging the monarchy. They accused it of racism, they sneered at its traditions, they stomped all over the Queen's legacy. And yet here they are, being ushered back in, while William and Kate, quiet, steady, dignified, continue doing their duties without fuss. No tantrums, no cameras, just service. But guess what? That doesn't sell. Integrity doesn't trend. Drama does. That's the Meghan effect. Packaged rebellion, identity politics, and perpetual victimhood. It's Netflix gold, Oprah approved, social media tested. And for the powerful people behind the curtain, it's too profitable to resist. And then we circle back to Oprah, the woman who once symbolized resilience and redemption. Now, she's the high priestess of grievance culture. She didn't challenge Meghan. She didn't fact-check a single accusation. She gave her the stage, smiled, nodded, and let the monarchy be smeared without a shred of evidence. That wasn't journalism. It was an infomercial for victimhood. And the scariest part? Oprah still wields massive influence. She could have demanded receipts. She could have asked the tough questions. Instead, she rolled out the red carpet for one of the most powerful smear campaigns in modern royal history. Here's where things really twist, because Meghan's story isn't just about personal drama. It's about power, influence, and the way narratives are weaponized. Think about it. Oprah gave her that platform, not to question her, but to worship her. Meghan accused an entire monarchy of racism on national television without a single shred of proof, and Oprah didn't even blink. No, who said it? No, do you have evidence? Just wide eyes and dramatic gasps, feeding the spectacle. And let's be real, that interview wasn't just Meghan's grievance list. It was a calculated move to rewrite her public image, to burn bridges with the royal family and then rise from the ashes as a global revolutionary. Meghan didn't just share her side of the story, she launched a smear campaign wrapped in designer fabric and camera-ready tears. But the real head-scratcher? The royal family's response. Instead of holding their ground, instead of saying, "You don't get to torch our house and then waltz back in," they've been quietly letting Meghan and Harry creep back into the fold. Harry's photo still sits proudly on the official royal website. His engagements are publicized as if nothing happened. Meghan lurks just far enough behind him to dodge criticism, but close enough to reap every benefit. Why is King Charles allowing this circus? Why would the monarch, who should be safeguarding tradition, be bending over backwards for the couple who publicly dismantled everything the crown represents? Weakness? Strategy? Either way, it doesn't look good. Because here's the truth. You don't invite arsonists back into the house while it's still smoldering. That's not diplomacy. It's surrender. And yet, silence dominates. The media barely touches it. The once vocal royal defenders have suddenly gone quiet. Even William and Catherine, the last remaining symbols of stability, seem to be shrinking into the shadows. Less press, fewer appearances, less spotlight. Why? Because they're too normal, too composed, too boring for today's media machine. Integrity doesn't trend. Quiet dignity doesn't make headlines. What sells? Meghan's drama, her chaos, her constant reinvention as victim turned rebel queen. And let's not ignore the contradiction at the heart of it all. Meghan preaches about wanting privacy, yet signs multi-million-dollar deals to broadcast her life. She demands justice, but only if no one dares question her version of events. She cries out for respect, but mocks the very institution that gave her a global platform in the first place. She wants to be untouchable, unquestionable, and adored all at once. And somehow people still buy it. Why? Because powerful figures are backing her. People with influence, money, and platforms are feeding the machine. They're shaping the narrative, silencing dissent, and packaging Meghan as a revolutionary icon when she's really just a well-connected opportunist. Charlie Kirk saw it. He said the quiet part out loud. He didn't sugarcoat it, didn't tiptoe around it. He called Meghan exactly what she was, a manipulator using her identity and her royal ties to play the victim, cash the checks, and build her empire on outrage. And what happened to him? He was branded hateful, dangerous, toxic, not because he was wrong, but because he was inconvenient. And that's the world we live in now. Being inconvenient to the narrative is enough to get you erased. You don't need to be wrong. You just need to say what no one wants to hear. And that's the tragedy of this entire saga. It's not just about Meghan or Harry or Oprah. It's about a culture that rewards manipulation and punishes truth. Think about the symbolism. William and Catherine keep their heads down, do their duty, raise their children without fanfare. They are stable, boring, consistent, and yet they fade into the background while Meghan's chaos takes center stage. The lesson? Drama wins, victimhood sells, outrage is profitable, and Meghan knows it. She's built her brand on contradictions, and contradictions are addictive. To her fans, she's the underdog who took on the monarchy. To her critics, she's the opportunist who burned bridges for profit. But either way, people are talking. And in today's world, attention is the real currency. What's chilling is how smoothly she pulls it off. Remember when she dropped that race card bomb in the Oprah interview? Just a single line, no context, no names, yet it dominated global headlines for months. That's power, and Meghan wields it like a weapon. Meanwhile, Harry, the once beloved prince, is just a shadow now, a supporting actor in Meghan's never-ending drama. He looks drained, lost, like a man who traded his crown for Californian sunsets and podcast microphones. And the palace? Instead of cutting the cord, they keep rolling out the carpet, pretending everything's fine. It's not reconciliation, it's capitulation. And the saddest part? The monarchy isn't just risking its image, it's losing its identity. Because when you let people like Meghan manipulate the narrative, when you reward betrayal with acceptance, you're sending one message loud and clear. Drama and victimhood are stronger than duty and tradition. Charlie Kirk was mocked for saying it, but he was right. Meghan isn't the victim. She's the director, the screenwriter, and the lead actress of her own saga. She controls the script, the timing, the headlines. And the world? The world keeps buying tickets to her show. So, what's the takeaway here? Meghan Markle, once the fairy tale duchess, reinvented herself as the tragic heroine. She weaponized identity, cashed in on outrage, and played the global media like a fiddle. And the system, media, Hollywood, even the palace itself, let her. Because integrity doesn't trend, but drama does. And in this game of crowns, Meghan has made sure she's always the one holding the spotlight.